Veronica, I have had the pleasure of being interviewed by you for over 8 years that we've known each other. Never have I had the opportunity to sit down and talk about your tremendous story, but now I get to do it and I'm so excited about that.
Me too, Raj. It's like full circle for me because it's been years that we've known each other.
Yes.
And I think we've done everything under the sun together in the world of media. It's crazy.
You have dabbled on and off air. You worked as a producer at CBC as well for The Hour.
Yeah.
You did that for a certain amount of time before the powers that be at Omni decided that they needed you to come and head up, their new vision for what Bollywood needed to be in Canada in the mainstream.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, because you've kind of worn both hats at separate times,
Yeah.
but now you're wearing both hats at the same time.
I know.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
It's crazy. You don't realize how much work goes into all the different parts of television and media in general. So I was a producer over at The Hour, and I was being asked by the producers over at Bollywood Boulevard to join the Bollywood Boulevard team. And in fact,
Yes.
I didn't want to do it because I was like, I really like the behind the scenes. It's really creative, it's really fun. You can dress down, you don't have to rock heels as much as I love to rock heels. It was cool just to, be laid back and be in a very, very, very innovative position. Because I was like, you know what, George, he was a great conversationalist. I looked up to him for years before I became a producer for George Stroumboulopoulos.
Which in and by itself was a dream come true, right?
Yeah, it was. I used to walk by the CBC building and be like,
Yeah.
I'm going to work there one day, and I didn't know where.
Yeah.
And I would literally think that in my head, and I was like, when it happened, I was like,
Wow.
what is going on?
And one of their biggest iconic shows ever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In recent times.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I just thought, I was like, and then I needed to take more time to think about it, and then finally I'm like, okay, I'm going in 500%, not looking back, and I did.
Yeah.
And after that, a bunch of stuff happened. IFA came to Toronto.
Yes.
A lot of opportunities opened up. And I think it was just me. I also wanted to get involved. I wanted to know everything about the position. I wanted to know what all the producers did. I wanted to know what the floor director did and the audio guys did. Like, I wanted to learn everything. And so I love media. It's just so natural.
You're where you need to be.
Yeah, I feel very comfortable, and I feel at home. I really, really do.
Yeah.
I still know I need to grow. I still need to find my voice in certain areas and so forth. So
You will.
Yeah, over time. And with the most recent, which has been so cool, Citytv started airing our show. So we've launched on Citytv. We are on Citytv and OMNI TV on a bunch of different web portals. And then more recently, like literally as of the last few days, we just got a report saying that we're like the #1 show on the network. So it was just after the relaunch. So
that is,
it's just been.
Can I tell you why I feel that is? I'll tell you why I feel that is. I think they needed to put someone at the helm, which they did with you, who actually is in touch with what is relevant to our community today. And it's interesting that you've made the show a lot more diverse in terms of its content. It's a lot more, for someone who doesn't watch TV, this is a huge compliment. But the show's become very diverse in terms of being more of a lifestyle show now.
Yeah.
Right?
I think as a viewer, we have fashion, we have Boulevard Bites, which is, culinary delights. We have a gossip segment, our Bollywood Insider. We talk about some very controversial things that sometimes will hit a nerve with people, and we want to. We want to create discussion. I mean, we're not asking people to always agree with everything we say.
Right.
We just want to create a discussion.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge...
How did you make that happen, though? Because, I know that, networks can be extremely, stratified in terms of the way that they want positioning to be where content is concerned.
Yeah.
It's not just about what content you should be talking about, but how.
Yeah.
But you've kind of, been a bit of a rebel with a cause.
Yeah.
In this case.
And that's, I think, it's taking a little bit of time, but I'm finally understanding that it's that, you know what, if you fall, you get back up, and if you make a mistake, that's okay. And I don't really see mistakes as mistakes because I just kind of feel like you keep going. And so if you don't experiment, then you actually are the one who loses out in the process. But I'm a huge supporter of the LGBT community. I'm a big supporter of gay rights and so forth. And I wanted to create that platform for us to discuss their issues and anything that they wanted to talk about, the good and the bad and so forth. I want to talk about female empowerment.
Right.
I want to talk about things that are really big universal themes still relate to Bollywood because Bollywood is changing.
Absolutely.
Their dialogue is changing. They're becoming more provocative and
Yeah.
edgy. It's not the typical idea of them running around behind trees and doing the light bulbs, because I'm so tired of that. Like
Right.
I'm just, it's to the point that I was like, wow, there's a very distorted image of what South Asians are and what Bollywood is.
Yeah.
And for me, I always felt that Bollywood was a form of escapism for a very conservative culture. But for me, it can also be a very big form of education if you present it in a certain way. That it's not you're not dictating it, you're not throwing in your opinion, you're opening it up.
I feel that there is a parallel to what's happening in Bollywood and in, you know, what's happening with the pop cultural element of who these, you know, big stars are today, and the fact that they're starting to talk about things that they never used to before, and kind of what you're doing with the show. Here in Canada. I mean, I do kind of see that, you know, correlation. I do see that there's a parallel there in terms of how you're kind of opening up the discussion as well.
Yeah.
Did you get any, you know, challenges associated with kind of taking the show into a realm that perhaps they may not understand to be formula Bollywood?
Well, in the beginning, yeah, because, you know, they would say, well, why don't you wear a traditional outfit? We still want you to be you, but what would you want to maybe want? I said, well, if the ladies that I'm, you know, discussing, and the girl who's on the screen beside me is wearing some short dress or whatever she's wearing, whether it's Babasha, Deepika, Katrina, whoever, I have to be representative of what's actually happening with the times. I really pushed certain things because of the feedback that we were getting, and people really liked it. And so, yeah, there's always been challenges because oftentimes people want to stick to the norm. They want to stick to what sells, and I was just like, I think you can actually sell more, and I think the ratings can go higher.
Hello Magazine, you know, honored you, and so they should have. 50 most beautiful Canadians, you were on that list. I mean, and the great thing about you, which I love, is that you decided out of all the people that you could have taken with you, you took your mom.
I did.
Oh my gosh,
so
talk to me about that experience.
Gosh. I remember that because we were, so I was bringing my mom because I was flying out to the Miss World Canada pageant out in Vancouver because I was hosting it.
Okay.
And so my mom was coming with me to that because it was falling on Mother's Day. So I was like, I can't miss Mother's Day. The day before we were flying out, I told my mom, I'm like, okay, so I have this red carpet event. It's, you know, it's a big deal, but, you know, just dress up. And so she like got her outfits ready. She was super excited, and she's a girly girl at heart.
Yes,
I
saw the pictures of you guys on social media, and your mom sitting there in the car with
you.
in
the limo. She's all dolled up, and I used to watch her growing up getting dressed, and she's been like a huge fashion inspiration, just an inspiration overall. And so I brought my mom, and I knew my mom's so emotional, okay? Like anything will make her cry, and especially about her kids naturally, right?
Of course.
So, I told her, and I wasn't just supposed to tell anyone because like you sign a confidentiality agreement and it's not supposed to be released. And I was like, if I don't tell my mom, she's gonna start crying on the red carpet, and it's gonna be really embarrassing, and no one's gonna know why, because you know when you among other people, it's very normal, and especially people in the biz. But my mom, when I told her, so I told her literally like 10 minutes before we went to the car, I was like, Mom, it's for this thing, it's a list, it's, you know, some beautiful people, I'm part of it, and she's like, oh my God, like, and of course.
Of course.
So I was like, yeah, so I took my mom, and I don't know, I feel like her energy, we live about 2.5 hours apart. My parents are in Stratford, Ontario, and so I just feel her energy with me all the time. And she can sense anything. Oh my gosh, anything is wrong with me, she'll call, and it's like, I don't even know how she puts it together. She has like this other sense about kids. And
she's a mom.
I know.
Trust me,
you know?
they just know. I'm a mom, I know. We just know about our kids because we love them, babe.
Yeah, and so she always taught me that like beauty is a state of mind, and she's, along with my father, they're the ones that ground me. And I'm a small town girl, right? So in that sense, it was like, how do I go from, you know, constantly looking through the pages of this magazine and looking up to all these people to being part of the list with Justin Bieber, who's my hometown hero, along with, you know, a bunch of people, which was really cool, and that was really humbling. And I mean, come on, beauty's beauty, and I feel probably the most beautiful when I'm like working out, but I don't look like this when I walk in with hair extensions and makeup, and I mean, I get a lot of help. Like, and I still, to this day, have to learn how to do my own makeup and my own hair. Like, I still don't know. Years in this business, I'm a lost cause.
Wow.
Like, I really am.
I love your honesty because, you know, in Toronto, forget Toronto, but across Canada, when it comes to, you know, the South Asian community, you're kind of like the ambassador for fashion for our community, especially in the mainstream.
For CAFA, for the Canadian Arts and Fashion Awards.
Absolutely. And that's a really tremendous thing, because I believe you're the only one, right, from our community?
I believe so, as far as I know, yeah.
Yeah, because I was looking down the list and I didn't see any other names that look remotely brown to me. So I'm thinking, oh my God, like my girl just like really rocked it there. And you know, even just being an inspiration to a lot of designers that are Canadian. Talk to me a little bit about that side of, you know, who you are.
The weird thing about me is that I often find that I'm like a big contradiction or a paradox with so many things that I like. And so I'm a real homebody at heart. Like I love being in sweats and eating junk food and watching movies and just sometimes being lazy at times. And,
right.
And I'm almost apologetic about it. Like it's weird. I'm like, I'm almost, like being lazy. Like it's almost like one of those words that I absolutely hate when it comes to my professional sphere.
Because you're the opposite in that sphere.
I'm the opposite. That's the thing for me, is like work ethic is everything for me. But when it comes to fashion, my mom was a huge influence for me, and I grew up looking at runways where people would be like, oh, that's so ugly, like why would they pair this and that together on a catwalk, like that looks just so hideous. And I was like, no, but how else are they going to showcase their collection? They have to put everything together.
Because you always understood I think the great thing about you, where fashion is concerned, is that you're not a retail girl, you're a concept girl. You like innovation, you like the art of fashion.
Me, yes,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of funny because I would get clothes and I would cut the strings and make it into my own design growing up. Actually, this is so embarrassing. I would like dress up and pretend to be these like film stars, or like I would pretend to be like a different person, and I always felt that clothes allowed me to do that because it was an instant language. Fashion is an instant language, you know, and so is style. And then I got to work with this phenomenal personal stylist, Dale Hodder, who got me out of my zone where I was just wearing a lot of black. I had a lot of great style, but I was wearing a lot of black, and he's like, for someone who loves Alexander McQueen, you don't have enough color, and you definitely have a lot of color in your closet, but you need to pull that out. And so he's gotten me out of my comfort zone. I worked with the late and great Pat McDonough, who passed away. I was really close to her, and she.
You were quite the inspiration. You were very much a person that she would design her collections for, right? I mean, I read about that. That's true, right?
She called me her muse, one of her few muses, which was shocking because I used to look at her stuff and be like, this woman is an iconoclast.
Yes.
And she's a rebellion, and she goes against the grain, and I love that. And I just feel like fashion is my language. It always has been, and style, and I love Canadian designers. I'm a huge fan and supporter when it comes to Canadian, because I think that the love is in the details. And they really take their time when it comes to tailoring and customization.
I think that Canadian fashion, in terms of innovation and you know, art and the cuts they do, has come tremendously far. I mean, I really feel that Toronto is quite the epicenter now, globally speaking, as kind of like the new it place for, you know, fashion find.
And right now with fashion, what's really, really cool and makes me so excited, it's like anything goes.
Yes.
Color, you want to be bland with the colors, you want to mix metals and be, I don't know, multifaceted with multimedia, whatever you want. Feathers, I know I've worn feathers to your events.
Yes, you have.
and you know what, the thing is, I'm sure people are like, what is she wearing sometimes? And other times I know that it's just like this, I even say, what was I wearing? But I know, and I don't, you know, the thing is, I don't ever regret it because it says something about where I was at that time and that I loved it.
Absolutely.
I don't know, it's just different, it's unique, and I love that.
It's interesting that you say that fashion really helped you kind of identify certain facets of, you know, who you are as an identity. Talk to me about who you feel you are as an identity, as a woman, outside of your, you know, public persona.
I feel like I'm a symbol of strength for a lot of women. I do a lot of anti-human trafficking work.
Yes, you do.
I'm a humanitarian at heart. But I've always felt like, as a woman outside of the public sphere, as a public figure, I'm just a normal girl. Like I like to do, I'm adventurous, I'm spontaneous. I am fairly good at sports. People may not realize that. I am, like shockingly.
What's
like
your sport?
I'm pretty good at basketball. And,
wow.
And people always see me as a girl in high heels and glamets on and hair extensions and so forth. And it's like, if you see me walk into work when I'm in producer mode, I'm in flats and I'm very laid back, very little makeup, and I'm pretty serious about my job. I don't take myself too seriously, but I take my job seriously. And I
Yeah.
think at the very core, I'm a humanitarian.
Yes.
I want to work on really good stuff.
Yeah.
I want to be part of really good projects. I want to produce really good content. And for me, like everyone else has different platforms.
Yes.
Whether you are, you know, a dentist, a doctor, a baker, whoever you are, you have different platforms to speak to anybody. And I use media as my language.
Yeah.
And that's my platform to connect to people.
You definitely are getting there, darling. I mean, you know, this is a big year for you and all of what you've accomplished. I kind of feel like everything that you've accomplished over, you know, the 8 years now that you've been in the industry has kind of come to, you know, ahead this year in 2015. You've of course made Anoki's list this year.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, which you know, I'm very excited that you made the list because you know you deserve it.
Thank you. It's so humbling and it's so incredible for me to be receiving this honor because it's come full circle for me, and it's really taught me about taking the steps and putting in your time and the process of work ethic and being persistent. But the fact that I am being honored is just speaks volumes to me and gives me goosebumps right now.
You need to be someone that we feel is truly a role model to be able to get on that list. Just because there are so many people doing tremendous things, you definitely are that.
Thank you.
You definitely are a role model. I think that you've just really laid a foundation for yourself to identify who you need to be in this space, and I'm really happy that I had the opportunity to chat with you and be on the other side.
I know.
Because you've interviewed me a million times. There's so many other things I wish I had the opportunity to talk to you about, so I'm going to have you come back and chat with me.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
I adore you. I have a lot of respect for you. I think you're a tremendous role model for women and for South Asian pop culture today. And just keep rocking it, darling. Just keep being you, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Adore
Thank
you.